So good morning. So it's like 5:12 in the morning, and I think it's the 5th of January. So this morning I'm actually going to do my vlog on homelessness. I definitely went through homelessness, not out of complete destitution, but just because my family's poor enough that I couldn't escape homelessness. Um, Having said that, the first time that I really noticed homelessness in a way that I didn't expect was when I traveled to Santiago, Chile, doing some research through Pontificia Universidad Católica in Santiago. And there were Chileans who either chose to or had to sleep on the street out in tarps with blankets. And, I'm seeing some of that in Boston now after having been through homelessness myself and kind of still in some kind of quasi state of homelessness. And, so I'm just going to document some of that and so you all can see it, so that I've documented for myself. Even my parents and family and sister might want to see this stuff for themselves too. Um, you know, Before that, it's not that I had never seen people who might have been homeless, but I didn't really know if they were homeless or not. I didn't really see much homelessness in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, or in Canada in general. I do know it does exist there, but like I've gone back and seen one or two people who might be homeless, but definitely not even on the level of what I saw in Santiago or what I see in Boston. And then, obviously in Jamaica, I have seen poverty in Jamaica, specifically Kingston, Brownstown, Montego Bay, and Maypen, but and probably mostly Brownstown and Kingston. But it always seemed different partly because of the climate. It's so warm on the island, and then it's such a small island with a small number of people. It seems like they always get by either way. And it wasn't clear to me if they were homeless or just poor and like didn't have shoes. But yeah, I've seen definitely a lot of shoeless people in Jamaica, running around barefoot or riding bicycles. But it seems like they do have enough to eat. I guess on another note, for people who want to experience homelessness, it's not horrible. There are some amazing components to homelessness. One of the biggest ones is, not having the financial concern of paying for a house, specifically, or having to pay for much of anything other than maybe food, if you can't find free food or can't hunt. Then the next concern while homeless is sleep, finding a safe place to sleep where you won't be disturbed, where hopefully it's not too cold, hopefully nobody, bothers you, or, even when I went through it, hopefully I wouldn't be bothered also. But, also making sure that you don't get arrested by the police, especially if that's a big concern. So, for people who want to experience homelessness, but do not want to forego the financial successes or wealth that they've accumulated, one way to do it is to pay off your bills for a period of 6 months and turn off the things that you don't need for that period, and then lock your door. Make sure you have enough money in an account or a credit card. I'd suggest using a debit card, though, with maybe $1,000 or $2,000. And if you do it that way, then you can just go out for a period of 5 months to 6 months or so and walk the earth without really having to go back to your house over that period of time. And obviously you have to be careful of the police, especially if you're in a position where an arrest or a criminal charge or a conviction would affect your quality of life. But yeah, that's almost like backpacking pretty much, which a lot of people do. And I've had a little bit of experience with too, through Europe, parts of South America, and a little bit in England, and Canada to some extent, and even a little bit like quasi backpacking in Jamaica. But yeah, that's one way to experience, homelessness, or what it's like to live on Earth without going back to a bed in your house. But I would definitely say if you have the means, put aside about $2,000. The reason why is in the beginning it might be hard to find the places to get food to subside um, and provide proper nutrition. And then two, at the end you want some, money just in case you have an emergency and decide that you want to get back home quickly, where you can either pay for a bus, rent a car, pay for a flight, or get on the train and pay. And with about 2,000 US dollars, that should be more than sufficient as a kind of a cushion, a financial cushion during a period of quasi homelessness. All right, so I'm gonna get going now to just show and document some of the homelessness that's here in Boston. It's actually a very comfortable night, although it's January the 5th. It's not too cold. I think the temperature must be somewhere between 30 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a little drizzly at times, but it's actually a comfortable night to sleep outside. Although on the cement and concrete here in Boston, it's probably still too cold for anybody's bodies, since our body temperature is about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So all these people who are sleeping out on the street, particularly on the cement, are losing a lot of energy, and as a result will have increased nutritional or caloric needs after they wake up or even while they're sleeping. So for that, maybe there'll be people sleeping on wooden benches in Boston Public Gardens. I'm going to go all the way from my apartment to about Boston Public Gardens, which covers pretty much of the Back Bay area. And then maybe there'll be some people sleeping on the benches there. Or, the other place that's a lot warmer than the concrete is the grass. The grass is usually much warmer too. So maybe I'll get to Boston Commons to see if there's anybody sleeping on the grass. All right, so this is my vlog on homelessness. Well, I might as well show you something. So this table is, well, it's also used for laundry. It's also a donation table. So people can leave things there and assign if they don't want it. And we can take the things that they leave, as long as it's not their laundry. And that is the entrance to my building. So I'm actually so this is the Avenue of the Arts here in Boston. Back Bay, which is Huntington Avenue. The stop closest to me, which I show routinely, is Symphony. But since I'm not taking the train or the subway, I'm just going to be walking. I'll just walk past there. So when I get to things that I would like to document or show, I will start recording yet again. So this one definitely, will be kind of like a sequence video after being edited according to chronology. So I'm actually the first area, the people, I think some of them already left, but the first area that I saw here is by Boston Public Library. So I'm going to show some of the people now. So for instance, these guys must be cold because they're sleeping just on a blanket on the cement, and the cement conducts the cold energy a lot more than the grass or wood. So one of the things I told my sister, she's going through homelessness, is if she's on the street, to sit on the wood or the grass as opposed to the cement, because that does conserve energy and it becomes noticeable. And when every calorie counts and every penny counts, and even there's a pigeon enjoying homelessness, then all these little things start to add up. That's a little bit better because it's a sleeping bag with some cushioning, but it's still going to be cold. So these are some of the people. I do know some people choose to be homeless. I'm not joking. I've met people who do not, either they don't, some of them don't trust the government. So I know that I've heard about that in America more than once, even in high school. But some of them, they don't trust, or some just don't want the financial burden of paying for anything. And I was a little surprised that some people take it that far. But I can understand it a lot more having been through it, because when I was completely homeless without any bills to pay, even for a subsidized apartment, I didn't even have to think about it. My mind could be on, and brain was focused on everything else that was interesting to me and exciting to me, and it was really peaceful and calming. And in the beginning, I didn't have any concern for the businesses or the police or the cops or bystanders. I just kept going from place to place, enjoying myself. This is something someone's left behind. So yeah, this is definitely something that's abandoned. So I'm gonna pick this up too. And this is also abandoned. It happens to be some movies. I could take that too, but I don't want to carry it. But this little book is really interesting. So I think it has Gryffindor on it. So it might be it might actually be some kind of journal for people who like J.K. Rowling. What is that book again? Harry Potter. Alright, well, there's some more other people that I see routinely down here, so I'm gonna film that when I get down there, and then hopefully I'll have enough time on my iPhone to film some of the places that I went to sleep when I was homeless, and I'll show each of those. Alright, so this is on Boylston. Boylston's another main street of Boston. Actually, that guy definitely has some fungus. He has some yeast, probably on his feet and different parts of his body. Definitely hasn't showered for a long time. The other interesting thing about homelessness, showering does not make the difference, but eventually, yeah, you will want to shower. I know eventually I did want to shower, but quite honestly, I grew up in a family where my mother made us clean too much and bordered on antiseptic. And she probably doesn't realize how harmful that is. So I was grateful to be out of her house and to be free of the to be free of her demands to shower, to pray, to believe in God, to go to church. Those were her demands. I'm grateful, that I live a relatively clean life, or an absolutely clean life, but there's just some things that she just doesn't know as well as she should. So now I'm in the Arlington area of Back Bay. This is Boston Public Gardens at night. It's a beautiful place. It's actually, I think it's probably, I don't know if it's closed or open at this time, and I never knew that this was even an issue. So it's actually walk-through traffic only after 11:30 p.m. so I can walk through. I didn't even know about these signs growing up. I'm sure they have them in Jamaica too, so I don't think it's a difference between Jamaica, Canada, and the United States per se. Although I don't recall them having as many and as detailed signs in Jamaica as they have clearly in the United States, and probably clearly in England, and probably Ireland, and probably Australia, and most definitely probably Canada too. But I remember one day in Florida, I was in Lauderhill walking around, and I noticed all these signs. I was just walking around reading everything. This was after medical school, when it was so clear to me how important words are for knowing things. It's great to have ideas, but if you don't have the words, especially the ones that are already well established, then you really don't know, and you really can't prove it. So I remember that day vividly, because I started noticing all the signs, and so I'm going to walk all the way over to Boston Common from here. And when I noticed those signs, I stopped and started reading them, and started to realize how clear those words were, even some of them that I didn't really know the meanings for yet. For instance, I didn't really know what loitering exactly is or was, and I didn't really know the difference between loitering and soliciting. I understood a little bit more about soliciting because I've been solicited many times for like credit cards or for donations for charitable organizations, but so I definitely had to go back and read up on those things, even Google that. And I really didn't exactly know what would be considered trespassing. Part of that was a little selective because I want to do what I want to do, but also because I hadn't really sat to read the clear definitions. And I know that there are almost always exceptions, but I just don't always know what those exceptions are. And obviously I prefer to utilize all that in my favor, as opposed to being the subject of punishment from those things. So that's why knowing makes a difference. Another reason why knowing makes a difference. And in this situation, especially in a legal context. And for the people who go through homelessness, so these are some of the lights that they have up that they do for the winter. They also put in flowers, I think every spring, like new flowers. And they might do it more than once. Yeah, Boston's definitely a well-kept city. So anyway, yeah, so I had to look those things up, just like I had to look up a lot of anatomical terms when I was a medical student at Harvard. And just like, I had to look up, or actually learn from the text. I learned from the text a lot when I was at University of South Florida and at Bishop Moore High School, and also St. Andrews. It's interesting, in Canada, from kindergarten to third grade, I really didn't work as hard as I did after arriving in Orlando. And part of the reason is because, I was willing to hang out in Canada and have a great time with all the girls and boys there. But then I got into trouble for some reason. I still don't really know what the exact reasons were. I wasn't doing anything intentionally to get in trouble. But whatever it was Miss DeRoche, who identified me as a problem child on some level, and then started writing a log for me to my mother to explain my good days from her perspective and my bad days from her perspective regarding my behavior. When really all I was doing is sitting, looking around, observing the kids, and in part figuring out who I really liked. And that's pretty much what I do with most of my life. Just hang out, aside from eat, sleep, and obviously sex. You know, hang out and see who do I really like, who do I want to hang out with. Will I ever have a friend? Oh God. So anyway, I walked this way because I wanted to see what these lights were. I thought it was along that little bridge too, but it's just the trees. And it seems they might have planted some of these trees, or they might have been here. I think I haven't really noticed these conifers on the either side. So this is getting through Boston Public Garden. So actually you can walk through here at any time. You just can't linger. So after 11:30 p.m. So that's the reason why there's probably nobody sleeping on the benches. Because if I was homeless outside at this point on a night like tonight, I would probably be looking for a wooden bench to sleep on, unless I could have slept in the Prudential. But yeah, I got arrested for trespassing in Prudential once when I was homeless on a cold November night, because I was sleeping and because I wasn't really buying anything. So this is Boston Common. I think they leave this open 24 hours. I probably should start checking these signs more routinely to just be sure, because pretty much once you make a decision and go with it, if it's illegal and you get caught, rotted, consequences are dire. So this is that. So the park closes at dusk unless otherwise posted. Can't smoke in this park. It's a $250 fine. So you're not supposed to. No alcoholic beverages, no skateboarding, no roller skating, no bicycling, dogs on leashes only, unless otherwise posted. So yeah, I mean, I really shouldn't probably be walking through it, but it just doesn't make sense. I don't think they enforce that stuff harshly, but anyway, I can't see anybody who is particularly sleeping on the grass. That's the main reason why I was going there, to see if there are any intelligent people who know sleep on warm things. Woo, gotta go. So now I think I should have time. I'm gonna go film some of the other areas that I slept in when I was homeless. I actually ended up staying in the financial district, for which it's probably better if I take the train. The train should be open from now, so I'll do that. So I'm going to show South Station. Probably do this in the next vlog, but it'll be South Station. This Bank of America ATM where I used to sleep, and then there's also I slept at this post office area down by South Station too. And then there were some places where I slept outside, so I'll show one of those places. It was a really nice night in the autumn. And then also Kendall, there's a hotel at Kendall that I slept in, which technically is trespassing too. But I did make sure and spend some money there too. Although even with that, it's still technically trespassing. But I definitely ate brunches there and spent the $25 for a brunch more than once, partly because I was sleeping there at night. And when I factor in the cost of sleeping in that building for what they would charge me, which would be like $100 to $200 a night for, you know, getting to sleep on the floor there and staying out of the way. I think it was only 2 nights that I did that. I needed a break from the street. It wasn't easy all the time on the street. Then, you know, when I factor that in, you know, the cost of brunch twice for $25 each seems like a big bargain, at least from that perspective. So anyway, I'm gonna go show those places next. There's another perfect one. All right, getting to, so this is South Station. I'm gonna show you where I used to sleep some nights. So yeah, so this is South Station. So this is one of the terminals for trains. So I used to sit on that bench over there. That one I think it's either that one or the second one over where that Asian guy is. Might be that one. They switched some of the things around here since I was in this area as a homeless man. But this is one of the areas I used to sleep reliably a lot of times. And it wasn't just me. There was usually maybe 5, 6, maybe up to 8 or even 10 people, other people here. Most of them were usually Caucasians. Pretty much all of them except for, I mean, I'm just like part Caucasian. Very, 30% or something. Being probably accurate, maybe 12%, if not 30. Anyway, so this area, but there's another place over here that I slept at when I was, when it was a comfortable night. So this is like the main financial district, and there it is. That's the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, and that's the building that I used to sleep in front of on the grass over here. I did this like once, twice, or maybe 3 times. I did it at least once. I think I came back here to do this maybe a second time, and actually did it a second time, maybe not. But I definitely came around 3 times, and I would sleep on this grass over here, and it was really comfortable on those nights. It was dry nights with not too cold outside, no snow. Sometimes also in like October, November, even December, we still have nights like that, although it still does get cold. So it was this area of the grass that I used to sleep in front of this building, which is the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. And then there's an ATM over here that I'll show you all right now. It's a Bank of America ATM. One of the banks that I've did my banking with and still do my banking with. So I have had my account with them still and my ATM card. So I would just go inside and sleep after say 3 or 4 in the morning, or it's 2 in the morning even, when most people weren't around. And I'll show you where. Well, we're close to the ATM. This is the One Financial Center, and it looks like there's a Starbucks in there. I might actually go there to do some work one day, as finding different cafes and different quiet places to go to really makes a difference. And yeah, there's the Starbucks. Alright, almost at the ATM. Well, I'm pretty sure it was actually at this location, and that it was a Bank of America ATM, and they might have remodeled it just a little bit. But now it's a Citizens Bank ATM. I used to bank with them too, but there was some fraudulent activity because I was trying to get a job and ended up being a scam. I lost about $1,500 US dollars to some guy, and so they closed my account. Anyway, I used to go in here, and there was a little counter on that left side by that white counter there. It was a little table, and it had a little area underneath there. So I used to just lay right under that table in that little corner over there and sleep, maybe 3 or 4 hours. And it actually was helpful because I got a better sleep than being outside. So I'll show you one other location. There are definitely some other places. Oh, there's the post office place. So let me go over there. It's also in the South Station area. So this is another place that I came to sleep. I did this probably about 3 or 4 times. They actually leave this place open. And there's usually nobody walking through after a certain time during the night. So after Saptiva. So it'll be this area, either over there or on the other end, which is over here, which is down there, and then also around here too. Anyway, so I'm going to show one other place. This is actually a hotel where they probably didn't know exactly that I was sleeping in one of their open conference rooms or something. I only did that twice, and yeah, you know, while 2 wrongs don't really make a right, I still went back for brunch and made sure and paid for a couple things, which was just 2 brunches. You know, so I spent about $50, which in some ways is kind of adequate because I was sleeping on the ground. Although, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that still ends up being trespassing. I just don't know how illegal it is. Maybe it's a misdemeanor. Maybe it's just a warning. Who knows? Maybe it depends on the police officer that day, and if he or she are willing to let somebody go with a warning.
Attention, please. This is
so I'm heading over to Kendall Square.
Northeast Regional Train number 1.
This is also
train arrives in 4 minutes.
So this is also the station where I was at while I was waiting for a train, my train, which I had already purchased a ticket for to return to New Haven when I had come from my interview at Mass General Hospital. Actually, it was at Brigham and Women's Hospital for general surgery, and I stayed with Walter Anthony Bethune, and Walter Anthony Bethune called me. I told him I was staying at the train station overnight, waiting for my train early in the morning. I didn't want to go back to his place that night, and he decided to come down, harass me, follow me around the station, and then called the emergency medical technicians to come take me to the hospital. And as a result of that, I missed my interview at Mass General Hospital for general surgery, so for internship in general surgery, because they kept me in the hospital for about a month. And this is after I had already been notified that they were not going to keep me on as an intern at Yale New Haven Hospital as a medical intern in internal medicine. Anyway, I'm going to get to that last place now. I just wanted to document that. So there it is. It's great these medical students try to be doctors, but they don't know enough to be a doctor yet. And as a result of that, they make some stupid decisions and things that went against my will and did not make the difference, despite what anybody else thinks. Entering Kendall. I'm walking to that hotel. Just found out, I knew this a little bit, but I didn't know the exact location. Google has an office right here. It's just like the travel office, not the main headquarters. And actually, I might as well note for people out there still working on nutrition and diet, some of the places that are really good when you're looking for a meal that is, you know, a little more filling but highly nutritious are Clover and Sweet Greens. Those two are really good. I'd go there a lot, especially as I was figuring out what healthy foods to buy to eat, and I didn't want to waste my money buying groceries on things that I wasn't necessarily going to eat. So those are some great options. In addition to that, there is also it's also good to go out to fancy restaurants, no doubt about that, even if you have to spend a little bit more money, because the food is usually high quality and it starts to broaden your palate, as it did mine, and you start to experience other foods that you otherwise won't know about and you wouldn't be cooking. And then once you get that, you can start learning about the ingredients and what it takes to make those foods, or to do your own rendition. But for me, some of those restaurants were Atlantic Fish Company was definitely one. There's also Luca's, that's another one I used to go to. You know, as well as Flames for West Indian and Jamaican food. But yeah, there are many other places, but those are some that are on the top of my head or top of my brain right now. All right, talk to you later. Here's something that I'm definitely going to try. I'm just passing on the way down to this little hotel, but it's CambridgeAthletic.com. They have a free trial for the Cambridge Athletic Club. So yeah, I'm gonna go check that out. At least I get to see some of the facilities. And yeah, if it's, you know, not too expensive, maybe I'd consider joining, but at least I'll go try it out. Another thing in the Kendall area, McGovern Institute for Brain Research. And the Koch Institute for Integrative Cancer Research, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So here's one other place that I slept. It's the Kendall Hotel. Had I had the money, I would have just paid for a room here, because this place looks really cool and comfortable. But this is where I end up going to eat a couple times, paying for a couple meals, and this is where I went. So it's See if I can see the room. So yeah, the room is all the way down there by that white door to the left. All right, so those are some of the places I slept when I was homeless. Again, definitely like my videos if you like them. Subscribe, share, comment. Definitely share your experiences, share your questions, share whatever information and insights you have. Or if you're not sure, but have something comes to your mind, whether it's positive or negative, negative or positive, or even just neutral, you know, feel free to put those comments on there, because all those comments are welcome, especially on my YouTube channel or on this account. Do be careful. I haven't been flagged by YouTube yet, but I don't know the whole process for getting flagged by YouTube. So if you think you might get flagged for something, no reason to get banned by these websites merely to make another point on this forum. If you have something and you want to share with me, you don't want to share it publicly, or you think you might get banned for it, just send it to me via email. I'll definitely take my time, read it, and even respond. So I'm heading back, and I'm going to finish up this vlog. Hope you all enjoy it. Bye. That's the John Hancock yet again, and the Prudential, and then that other building that they're building, and that's the Charles River, and this is MGH T-stop coming up, Charles MGH.